Hello everybody, back in one of my favourite spots with Michael
Welcome
Ritchie.
back.
Thank you very much. If you're a fan of Gallery Guitar, you've seen Michael on it many times. He's been making me guitars now for what?
Over 15 years.
Yeah, over 15 years. And when I'm up in his workshop, it's always a great chance to find out what goes on up here, the magic that you make. And I've always been really interested in glue and the types of glue that Michael makes the guitars with. And I think I've found out more about guitar making from Michael than from anyone else. And the first time you ever mentioned hot hide glue to me was in your other workshop, and I was fascinated. So we've
glue in the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we've got you to put all the glues out today, and I just want an insight for all of you about why you use animal glue and what types of glue. And
yeah. Well, I mean, this is a sort of collection, and I haven't used all of this glue to date, but plan to at some point. So we've got different types of hide glue. We've got bone glue, nerve glue, glue made from sturgeon bladders, rabbit skin glue. We've got cowhide glue and fish skin glue, and a mix of nerf and bone glue. And then within the glues, we've got different strengths of glue. So this is 5-10 gram strength. That's how animal glue is measured. So it's incredibly strong. Then 444, 251. So as the number goes lower, it gets weaker.
So the higher the number, the stronger.
The stronger it is. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, we've got some close-ups of this for everybody so they can see it. But I mean, it's fascinating to sort of touch it and get it in your hands.
Yeah.
Sort of, this is a sturgeon. So this is
sturgeon. Well, that I think that is the glue preferred by violin makers. I haven't used this yet. I've had it for a little while. I've just not got around to using it. That came from Bulgaria, the Black Sea, and it's made from the bladders of the sturgeon fish.
So when you're using the different strengths of glues, why are you using different strengths, and in what parts of the guitar are you using the different types of glues?
Well, I'll use fish glue for the centre join because it tolerates heat a little better, which helps when you come to brace. I use this mix of nerve glue, so it's from the cow nerves, and bone glue, because the nerve glue makes the bone glue a little bit more supple. So I use that for the braces.
Okay.
I'll use a higher glue, I quite like 444, for gluing the bridge.
What type of glue is that one? That's
just a normal hide glue from cowhide. Yeah, and it's just nice having a collection of it. You know, I probably mostly use the likes of this 315 gram strength or 192 hide glue, cowhide glue.
Okay.
The fish glue and the bone and nerve glue. That's the main ones I use.
So then you're working in this warm environment all the time with this glue, keeping it warm and gluing the different parts of the guitar. So, and why? I mean, it's great to see all the jars, you know, Hellman's mayonnaise and strawberry jam. I love it. Why the hide glue, or why the animal glue? Because there's so many different types over, you know, the synthetics, the chemicals, that the modern day scientific.
Well, I mean,
glues.
not to, you know, there are plenty of guitar makers using modern glues. Tight Bond's the sort of industry standard, and there are many guitar makers use that glue and make absolutely wonderful guitars. So it's not to say that this is the way, but this is how guitars were made. This is how all the old masters that we look back to, Torres, etc. This is how they made their guitars, you know. And with the hide glue, with its use, come certain methods which I'm attracted to, and I like to think that they add a certain quality to the guitars. The other thing is that the hide glue, the way it works is that when it's hot, it relaxes into a liquid. So this is some melted in baby bottle warmer. So you can see the how fluid it is. It's a little bit thick, so it's been sitting out. Do with a little bit more water. It just sort of runs off the brush like that. And that's when it's warm, and that all the all the chains within the protein relax when it's in that state. And then you put the two pieces of wood together, and the glue penetrates both surfaces of the wood, and then as it cools, the chains tighten. And basically create this sort of matrix that amalgamates the two pieces of wood.
Yeah, so you're really fusing the two pieces of wood together.
That's right, yeah.
Rather than gluing to the glue or sticking to the glue.
Well, with the tight bond, I think because what I've done in the past is plane down through the piece of wood, so glue two pieces of wood, and then plane down through the piece of wood till you find the glue. And with the animal glue, there's no clear. You find the glue for sure, but it's a little bit less clear where one piece of wood goes into the next piece of wood. Where with modern glues, there is a film between the two pieces.
So creating a real sandwich where you can see that glue there as well. So rather than sort of fusing it together.
Some people would say that the modern glues tend to creep. Whether that
and what does that mean?
Well, that means that over time they pull apart a little bit. Whether that, again, let's be sure to say there's plenty of guitars out there that have stood up to the test of time using these glues. But I've always been drawn to the guitars of that era, Torres and the old Spanish makers who used these glues. And when I was in Granada, I learned how to make guitars with these glues, because it comes with certain techniques because you need to keep it warm. You need to keep the glue warm, so you need to heat areas, you need to reheat after gluing, like the glue in the soundboard video we did. That's a long time ago. That's on we used fire to flame to reheat the joint afterwards, so because sometimes it takes, there's no getting away from it takes a bit of time. With glue in the soundboard, you've got to wrap the string around, and then you push the wedge home that gives you the tightness. So the glues had a chance to cool in that time. So before you've applied the pressure, so just before applying the pressure, running the flame just reheats the glue, and then you put the pressure in, and it's clamped as it cools.
So
it does its job.
Strength. And the question that's obvious to everybody is, have you ever had any trouble getting through customs with bags of this stuff?
Well,
or how does it come into?
Well, that came from a student, a French student who was going home to Paris when I was teaching guitar making, and he went to the shop in Paris and bought me 2 kilos of nerve glue.
And wasn't stopped at the border.
No, he was not stopped at the border. And then this came from the same shop. I managed to buy that online, and that's a mix of the two. And the nerve glue is interesting because an ex-student from the college where I used to teach, Lucie Touquois, who returned to Paris in the holidays when she was studying at the college. She went to visit Daniel Friedrich.
Oh wow!
And it was him who told her about the glue he uses for the braces of the top is this mix of nerve glue and bone glue, and he uses it because it adds a little bit of flexibility. It makes the glue a little bit more supple with the nerve glue, and allows for a little bit more movement in the top.
It's just amazing, even from the perspective of a player, because I always find it's so fascinating when I come up to your workshop to do these just moments where you work in such a flow kind of state where the things that we're watching you do today, they just happen in front of your eyes and they're sort of done. And I always find that interesting because I'm always comparing it to playing the guitar and playing music on the guitar and thinking about all the different ways you create sound on the instrument. And just to get this idea today, or this sort of impression of you using different strengths, different types of guitar glue for different parts of the construction of the guitar, it's just like using different parts of the nail or different parts of the string.
Yes, I think there are a lot of comparisons, aren't there?
Yeah, well, there's this assumption sometimes that it would be the same glue that would glue the whole guitar together, and then that would be it. And sometimes there's an assumption that you would play free stroke or you would play rest stroke, or your hand would be there.
There's more to it.
But there's so much subtlety in it, and if that subtlety's gone into the actual construction of the instrument, then it's just another level of sort of that connection that you have with every aspect of what's happening.
And I mean, again, you could just use tight bond PVA throughout. But for me, it's interesting using the different glues and just giving that a little bit more depth to it.
And they're obviously they're very organic products, so there probably are differences between the last batch you got, or how you keep them and how you work with the heat.
Yeah, we have to keep them dry is the thing. I mean, when they get wet, then they turn to this kind of jelly. But I mean, glue will last a long time. I mean, I bought this when it was I probably had this for 20 years or something.
Yeah.
So it lasts a while. You buy a kilo of it and you've got it for a while.
Okay. Well, it's absolutely fascinating. Thank you again for another little insight into the marvellous things that you get up to here in your workshop, and I hope you've enjoyed just a little sneak peek inside the methods that Michael uses to build these wonderful guitars. Thanks for showing us.
Great, no problem.